Kim Kiyosaki, and my favorite investment of choice is real estate. And I recently did a presentation to a live audience. The subject of the talk was good deal, bad deal. And it was about how do you spot good deals in the market. Hi, I'm Kim Kiyosaki, and my favorite investment place versus bad deals, because there's a lot more bad deals out there than good deals. So my forte is how to analyze a deal, how to look at the numbers, how to tell if a property is worth pursuing or not. So I'm going to take you right now to that live performance with an audience. We had about 300 or 400 people, and I trust you'll enjoy it. So here we go. If I can just see a show of hands, how many people here own real estate? Okay, great. How many people do not? Thank you. Okay, a distinction. How many people own investment real estate? Okay, how many do not? Great, thank you. Is there a difference between real estate and investment real estate? Yes. I would say all investment real estate is real estate, but not all. Okay, how many do not? All real estate is investment real estate. And I want to make the distinction because I have so many people come up to me and they said, oh, Kim, I just started investing in real estate. I went, great, what did you buy? They said, oh, I bought my home. I'm like, okay, let's separate out your investment, which is your business. Your investment real estate is business. Your home, you don't buy a home necessarily to make money quickly, right? It's an emotional buy. And so I never consider my home, or if you have a vacation home that you're just going to use, you're not going to rent it out, those are luxuries, basically. So today we're talking about investment real estate, and that is real estate that you buy with the intention of making money very quickly. Is that clear? Hello? Yes. Great, thank you. Okay, the reason I'm up here on stage today, 3 reasons actually. Number 1, my name is Kiyosaki. How many people have read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? All right. If for those of you who haven't, this is a must-read if anybody wants to take control of their financial lives. This was written by my husband, Robert Kiyosaki, and has been on the New York Times bestseller list now for close to 6 years. And this is where all of this is. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is my investment philosophy. This is my foundation. And again, if you haven't read it, please do so. So number 1. Number 2 reason I'm up here is I am somebody that knew absolutely nothing about money, nothing about investing, had no education, no training, wasn't brought up around anybody that invested in real estate. And so it was in 1989, Robert came to me and he said, Kim, it's time you start investing. I didn't even know what the word meant. All I knew is, I saw some stock shows on TV, and I said, does that mean you're supposed to buy stocks and bonds? And he's like, no. And so he began to teach me what his rich dad taught him, and then he said, okay, you're on your own. I'm like, great. So I go out there and I'm looking, and to make a long story short, my very first investment property was a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house in Portland, Oregon. And we actually have a picture of it if you'll put it up on the screen. There it is. That's my mom on the porch. But that was my very first investment property, little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And I'll tell you, I was scared to death. I'm like, what if the tenant moves out? What if I made a mistake on the numbers? What if the roof leaks? What if? I studied this property for days and days and days, went over all the what you call due diligence, checking out the property up one side and down another. And the funny thing is, when it came time to close the property, I'm at the closing table, and first of all, they couldn't make out my signature because my hand was shaking so much. And then I had to come up with $5,000, which I didn't have. So I had to scramble to come up with that. So I had this check for $5,000 in my hand. And they're like, okay, now we need the money. And they couldn't get the check out of my hand. I'm like, no, I can't do it. But that property, just to give you an example, that very first property cost me $45,000, As I said, I had to put $5,000 down. And so if anybody here in the audience or who's watching this on video, if you're saying, I don't have the money, I didn't have the money. I often don't have the money. But there's a really creative thing that happens. If you do not have the money, it can be a great benefit. Because all of a sudden, once you see a property and you get excited about it and you want it, you're going to start thinking about, how do I get the money? And you will get so creative, and you'll be amazed at some of the ideas that you come up with and some of the places the money comes from. So never let I don't have money stop you. It's not a valid excuse. Okay. This little property gave me a whopping cash flow, and cash flow is my rent comes in, I pay the expenses, I pay the mortgage, and at the end of the month, I had $25 a month positive cash flow. And I was so excited. I was so excited. It was so great. And so that was my very first deal, and that's where I really learned the fundamentals of real estate investing, because even though it was a small property, the basics of investing, the basics of running a property, of managing a property are the same. And so I kept investing, kept learning. I keep investing today. I'm investing all the time. But I wanted to show you one of my most favorite properties. This was one of my most successful real estate deals, and that's this property right here. It's a commercial property, happens to be in Phoenix, Arizona. And the beauty of this property, and let me just say one thing. I ended up with this property because of the biggest investment mistake I ever made in my life led me to this property. And I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically I was negotiating on another property in Florida. I live in Phoenix. Didn't know the laws of Florida, thought I had to bring in an attorney, thought I had to bring in all the brokers and the experts who started negotiating this deal for me. And long story short, I lost the deal. We had negotiated for 6 months, and they call me and say, the deal's gone. I'm like, no. And I'm like, I'm not mad at the attorneys, I'm not mad at the brokers, I'm not mad at anybody except me, because I didn't trust myself to do this deal. And so I'm like, I knew how to do it. I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't trust myself. And so that night, it's like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I got to find the next investment. I got to find it. I'm looking through these papers. Now I'm negotiating on a deal from Phoenix in Florida. I find this property, which is this property here. Better deal, better cash flow, better financing terms, much better return on my money, and it's 2 blocks from my house. So that property, same fundamentals, same principles, just bigger numbers. That was an $8 million property. Had to put down $1 million, of which I did not have. So I had to find out how to get that money. Again, never let I don't have the money stop you. And this, instead of $25 a month, today it puts $30,000 a month in my pocket, month after month after month. So again, it's not rocket science what I'm going to talk about today. It's not necessarily, I say it's very simple. The concepts are very simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It takes time, it takes effort, because I really love encouraging people to become financially free, financially independent. And you can't do that being what we call a passive investor. If you want to just turn your money over to somebody else and let them manage it for you, that's fine. However, I don't think you're ever going to get to financial independence that way. So I'm talking about being an active investor. And the third reason I'm up here, as Pastor Maureen pointed out, I'm happy to say I'm the author of a new book called Rich Woman, and the subtitle is Because I Hate Being Told What to Do. How many people can relate? And this is a story of 6 women, my 5 girlfriends and me, and we are all starting our careers at about the same time in Honolulu, and we lose track of one another, and then we have a reunion 20 years later. And we've all taken very different paths. So one woman is a single working mom. Another woman is in the corporate world. Another woman gave up her career to raise her children and her family. And so we came from very, very different paths. And in this book, what these 5 women realize is that when it comes to money, there's 2 things. Either they're going to have to work until the day they die to keep up their lifestyle, or they're depending on somebody else to take care of them. So Rich Woman is a story of the 6 women, and basically addresses the issues and the questions that are very unique to women when it comes to the world of investing. Because how to invest, how to buy a property, how to buy a stock, how to analyze a business is the same for men and women, but there's some issues that are very different, and that's what this book addresses. All right, so those are the 3 reasons I'm standing up here today. And of course, I think we have some books available in your local bookstore here, right here on the property. Has anybody read this book, Rich Woman? Hey, thank you. Well, for all of the rest of you, go to the bookstore. Okay. So this talk is entitled Good Deal, Bad Deal. And I think one of the reasons I have a lot of people come up to me and they say, Kim, I'm so scared. I'm so scared to get started. And I think a lot of the fear comes because people don't know how to tell a good deal from a bad deal. Are there more good deals out there today or more bad deals? There's a lot of bad deals out there. And especially when the market is high priced, as it is today, there's fewer good deals than bad deals. There's a lot of bad deals. And when the market is depressed, you can find more good deals. So most people say, oh, now the market's high, I'm going to start investing. Where you make your money is when there's a market crash or correction. So we're all hoping for a market crash or correction because that's where we make our money. Matter of fact, my first property in Portland that I bought it because it was in a very depressed market. Portland was very depressed at that time. So you can go and buy property very cheaply and know that trends happen. You know, markets go down, markets come up. So if you can buy property in a depressed market, there's a good possibility you're going to do great on your money. So, good deal, bad. A lot of fear. There's a lot of good salespeople out there, correct? And their deal is always the best deal. I got the best deal. You go ask somebody, what's your best deal? Go ask a broker. Oh, I've got this one, this one, this one. So the purpose of this presentation today is to give you some distinctions and some ideas as to what to look for if you want to buy investment property, if you're going to start investing in property or already have and want to grow your portfolio. What I'm going to offer is some of the distinctions I've learned and what I've been taught by some fabulous real estate investors. Okay? All right, great. So they found that in learning, I could stand up here and talk all day, but the learning actually increases when you talk as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and if you're watching this on video, if you're watching it with somebody on video, then share with that person. I want you to pick a partner, and you're going to share. If you're watching this alone on video, talk to yourself. So pick a partner. Everybody get a partner. I'm asking you all to participate. Please participate. Your learning will increase. And here's the question. We're talking about being financially independent or accumulating cash flow properties, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more. But this is about being free. Ideally, you want to invest, whatever your investment vehicle is, you want to invest so that your money is working for you, so that you ideally do not have to work for money, so that you become financially free. So here's the question to share with your partner. Give you about a minute. If money were no issue, what would you do in your life? If money were no issue, because the vision that you want to hold for yourself in going through this process of investing, there's a vision out there that's important for you. Okay, so take about a minute, discuss. If money were no issue, what would you do in your life? Thank your partner. Okay, so what we're going to do today in just a little while is you and your partner are going to actually be analyzing two properties. And we're going to be talking about the numbers, how to analyze the numbers of a property. And I often hear people say, oh, but I'm not good with math. And oh, I get so confused with numbers. Or they just go glassy-eyed. Yeah? What? Huh? Huh? So forget about all that. Because the key in analyzing a property, in analyzing the numbers, and I love to analyze the numbers because it's a very creative process. It's not a math process. It's a creative process because as you look at the numbers, and you'll see today, the numbers do tell a story. So you can look at numbers on a property and actually start to see what's going on with that property. And it's really important that, again, you can understand how to tell a good deal from a bad deal because by knowing a good deal, you can minimize your risk. You can make a lot more money. You can also, if you need to, if you've got a good deal, there's a lot of people that want to give you money for that. So by understanding the difference, you can be a much more successful real estate investor. And I'll give you a couple of examples of two people that did not understand the numbers and couldn't tell the difference between a good deal and a hole in the ground. Okay. My friend lives in Singapore. And he came to me and goes, oh, I'm so excited. I bought this property in Malaysia. Great. What's the property? Oh, it's a 6-unit commercial building. Great. How much money is it making? Nothing. Okay. You got expenses. He goes, oh, yeah. You got a mortgage. Oh, yeah. Well, how much money are you losing? Oh, about $7,000 a month. Like, okay. Six units. None of them are rented. Oh, no, one's rented. One's rented. I'm like, so you must have income. He goes, oh, no, it's a church. I can't charge money to a church. So I'm like, okay. I said, I'm looking at this thing, and I finally turned to him. I said, Richard, why did you buy this property? And he goes, oh, they had such a nice glossy brochure. I couldn't pass it up. I go, okay. So do not ever buy a property because it has a nice glossy brochure. Do a little research. Do a little homework. I don't think today he owns that property. And then there was another gentleman, and this was in Sydney, Australia. He had bought it was a single-family house in an area called King's Cross, Australia, in Sydney. And he bought the property on a whim. And he was scared to death. He was so afraid that because he had never bought a property before. And he's like, I got to get out of it. I got to get out of it. I need the money. I can't do it. I need the money. I'm like, how much did you put in? He said, $6,000. I'm like, okay. So I look at the property. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to? No, I don't like real estate. I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay. So we gave him the $6,000. So he got his money back. He turned the property over to us. We had a lovely cash flow every month of that property. And when we sold it, we made about $230,000. Only because we understood the good deal from the bad deal. So again, that's what I'm here to talk to you about, so you can start making those distinctions and make a lot of money, but ultimately free yourself up from having to work to make a living and having your money work hard for you. Okay? So again, I'm going to turn it back to you. Take a minute, share with your partner. Let me ask a question first. How many people here are planning on investing in property? Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And again, how many people have invested in property? Wonderful. Okay. So take a moment and with your partner discuss how would understanding the numbers, and we're going to take it very simply, make you a better investor. Ready? Take 1 minute. Go. Thank your partner. If you're watching this alone, thank yourself. Okay, there's two types of ways you can invest in property, and there's so many different vehicles for property. You can buy residential property, you can buy commercial property, you can buy land, you can buy notes, you can buy apartment buildings. There's so many ways you can invest. But whatever type of investment in real estate you're going after, you're usually going for one of two things. And the first is called